Let's talk about Ross, chapter 9, section 2. This is on the syntax of the adjective. This has to do with how you will see the adjective occurring or co-occurring along with other words in a phrase. Okay? Syntax just has to do with the grammatical arrangement and rules governing how words function together. So we've learned how to form the adjective. Thankfully, we didn't really have to learn anything new. Just need to add the noun endings we've already learned. But how do you use the adjective? There are basically 3 ways that the adjective in Hebrew can function. The first way is as an attributive adjective. The second way is as a predicate adjective. And the third way is as a substantival adjective. All right? Okay, so the 3 types of adjective uses here in Hebrew and in English and in Greek are attributive, predicate, and substantival. Let us walk through the different concepts here first, and we'll use some English examples, and then we'll talk about how Hebrew actually does it. Okay? So first of all, when we're dealing with an attributive adjective, and we really need to be able to distinguish that from a predicate adjective, an attributive adjective, here's the semantics. It tells you what kind of noun you're talking about. What kind of noun? Examples. A happy boy. Here's my adjective, happy. Does that adjective tell me what kind of noun, what kind of boy I'm talking about? Yes. What kind of boy? A happy boy. The sad mother. Okay, what kind of mother? Sad. So, I used to try to describe an attributive adjective as just saying, well, these are adjectives that directly modify a noun, or that tell you something about the noun, but that doesn't really help distinguish from a predicate adjective. The boy is happy. My mom is sad. Okay? Same adjectives, happy and sad. Is this telling you what kind of boy I'm making an assertion about? Not really. It's not telling me what kind of boy has some quality. Rather, it's telling me what quality the boy is, right? And that's what predicate adjectives do. Predicate adjectives tell you what the subject noun, so S stands for subject noun, is. Okay? So the boy is happy. My mom is sad. This isn't telling you, the adjective sad isn't telling you what kind of mom I'm talking about, right? Rather, it's telling you what my mom is. Those are predicate adjectives. And since predicate adjectives tell you what the subject noun is, predicate adjectives always occur in copular constructions. What's a copular construction? It's a construction that has a copula implied or explicit. That is to say, there's some sense of the verb to be, whether that verb to be is explicitly written there or is assumed. Okay? Now, it doesn't mean that every time you have a copular construction, every adjective you see must be a predicate adjective. Let me give you an example of what I mean by this. The happy boy is tall. How many adjectives do I have in that sentence? The happy boy is tall. I have two, happy and tall. Which one of these adjectives is telling me what kind of noun I'm talking about? Happy, good. So happy is what kind of adjective? It is an attributive adjective. Which one of these adjectives is telling me what this happy boy is? Tall. So tall is the predicate adjective. Okay? My entire sentence is a copular construction because I'm making an assertion about what some subject is, but the predicate adjective is only the adjective that tells me the quality of the subject, right? What the quality is. Even though this is copular, I could even have an attributive adjective modifying the noun that I'm making an assertion about. So be very careful here. Okay. All right. Now, the last kind of adjective use is what's called the substantival use. Let me just put in parentheses. A substantive is a noun. Or it's a noun or something that functions like a noun. Okay, so in terms of understanding it here, especially in Hebrew, the deal with substantival adjectives is that basically what they are is a substantival adjective equals an attributive adjective without a noun to modify. Okay? It's an attributive adjective without a noun to modify. In English, we don't really use these as frequently as we do in other languages. But let me give you an example here. So let's say we have the holy saints. I know that's redundant if you know your theology. Love God. Okay? Where's my attributive adjective here? Yes. Holy is my attributive adjective. Is it telling me what kind of saints we're talking about? Yes. The holy saints. So that's an attributive adjective, right? Now, I could rephrase this sentence and use the attributive adjective without the noun saints and say something like, the holy love God, right? The wicked hate God. Okay, so where are my adjectives here? The holy and wicked. Okay? These are adjectives, and a substantival adjective is an attributive adjective without a noun to modify. Why? Because it acts, the adjective acts like a noun. Okay? So here I have the attributive adjective holy. Is there a noun that holy is modifying here in the holy love God? No, there's no noun, right? I've omitted saints. And there's no noun to be the subject. What's the subject of this first clause? It's the holy, right? Here the adjective is functioning as the subject noun. And then over here with the wicked, there's no noun for wicked to modify. The adjective is the noun. and it's also functioning as the subject of hate. Okay? So anytime I have a substantival adjective, it is filling the role of a noun. Nouns can do lots of different things. Nouns can be subjects of verbs. Nouns can be direct objects, right? I love the wicked, said Satan, right? I love the wicked. The wicked is the object of the verb love. It's a substantival adjective. Could be the object of the preposition. I'm going to do this for the holy. All right. So let's talk about how Hebrew handles each of these three sorts of scenarios. Okay, and I'm going to just jot this down now again in order now with Hebrew discussion. So attributive, first of all, I'm going to just abbreviate that. When you have an attributive adjective in Hebrew, there are two non-negotiables. Number one, the attributive adjective must follow the noun. It modifies. And secondly, it must agree in three ways with the noun that it modifies. Now, if you're taking Greek, the trifecta is always case, gender, and number. But in Hebrew, we don't have case. So let me never hear you say case, gender, and number in this class. Okay? In Greek, adjectives have to agree with their nouns in case, gender, and number. In Hebrew, it's gender, number, I'm abbreviating these, and definiteness. That is to say, is there an article on the noun? If there is, then there must be an article on the adjective. Is the noun lacking the article? Is it anarthrous? Then the adjective must be anarthrous as well. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples of how this works in Hebrew. Let's take, first of all, sus tov. Sus tov. Is sus the noun or is tov the noun? Sus is the noun. Tov is the adjective. So does tov follow the noun here? Yes, remember we're reading from right to left in Hebrew. So tov in position. So this is the positional requirement. It has to go after the noun. So it does do that. Does it agree with the noun in gender, number, and definiteness? Well, what gender and number is sus? It's masculine and singular. What gender and number is tov? It is also masculine and singular, right? They both have zero ending. Is sus definite? No. Is tov definite? No. Then they match definiteness. That is to say, they're both not definite. So this could be an attributive adjective, right? And to translate it, remember, attributive adjectives tell you what kind of noun. It's going to be a good horse, right? A good horse. Now, let us just make this definite. If I wanted to say the good horse instead of a good horse, what would I do? Well, I'd have to make sus definite. How do I do that? He pathak dagish forte, hasus. And what would have to happen to the adjective for it to agree in gender, number, and definiteness?
Receive the same article.
That's right. I'm going to put the same article on the adjective. So it is literally hasus hatov, the horse the good, and that means the good horse. The horse the good means the good horse. Okay? Now, they're both masculine and singular, but they're both definite too, right? So, not a good horse, but the good horse. but they still agree in all three ways. So it is an attributive adjective, just a definite one. All right. Take a look at the bottom of page 81 in your Ross textbook, and we'll read the examples here. So look at the first one. We have melech tov. Tov is the adjective. It goes after the noun. It agrees with the noun in all three ways, doesn't it? They're both masculine, they're both singular, they're both not definite. So this is a good king. What kind of king? A good king. Attributive adjective. The next example, he just throws the article on both, so they still agree in all ways. Ha melech, ha tov, but it's not a good king, but the good king. And look at the third example. We have ha avadim, ha tovim. The servants, the goods. Of course, I'm saying goods with the plural, tongue in cheek. We don't put an S on our adjectives in English, even if they refer to plural things, right? But it's the servants, the goods. That is to say, the good servants. Does the adjective come after the noun? Definitely does. Does it agree with the noun in gender, number, and definiteness? Absolutely. So this is an attributive use of the adjective tov. That's all good. Now, on the next page, we have an example of a situation where it looks like we might on occasion get a mismatch. But if you know your nouns and their genders, it's not a mismatch at all. The word eretz means what? It's land, right? And what gender is land? It's feminine. So you might look at eretz and say, that's a masculine noun. But in fact, it really is feminine singular. So my adjective has to be what? It has to be feminine singular as well, right? And if eretz doesn't have the article, then gedolah can't have the article. And this is the way my attributive adjective will look. A big or great land. Eretz gedolah. So here's the nice thing about adjectives, is that even when the noun doesn't seem to be behaving and looking very much like the gender you think it is, whenever it's being modified by an adjective, the adjective is always true to the ending that you expect for that gender. So eretz doesn't look masculine, but gedolah, it looks masculine, but it's not. It's really feminine. So it doesn't look feminine. Gedolah, that definitely looks feminine, doesn't it? So the adjective is always true, even when our nouns' genders are being deceptive with us. Okay? And to give you another example, if I had something like avot. Okay, remember the word av is father. Avot is fathers. Is avot masculine plural or feminine plural? It has what looks like a feminine plural ending, but it truly is masculine plural. Okay? So which form of tov am I going to use with avot? Tov, vim. I got to use the masculine plural form. So it's avot tovim. Notice the adjective is true to the real gender of that noun. Okay? Avot tovim. Good dads. Okay? Good fathers. Avot tovim. Okay. I'll give you one more example, maybe just to drill some of the stuff you already know. If I want to talk about a good city, I got to put good after city. Which form of tov am I going to use with ear? What gender is ear? It looks masculine, doesn't it? It is, in fact, a feminine singular noun. So which form of tov do I have to use? I have to use the feminine singular form. Which one is that? Tovah. Good. How about this? How about the word nashim? What's nashim? It's women. So what gender is nashim? It's feminine plural. So what form of tov do I have to use? Got to use the feminine plural. Which one is that? Tov. Tovot. Okay? So notice that the endings here don't match each other in terms of what we expect. But if we really know that women is feminine, we got to use the feminine form of tov. Okay? So nashim tovot. Nashim tovot. So the adjective is always true. It is a faithful and loyal companion.